I've got two incredible guests on this episode of Giant TV. I've got Brian Thomas, who is a successful Vistage Chair, working directly with CEOs and owners on the hot issues impacting all of them, and AI is certainly one of them. I've also got Ross Hartmann, who's the founder of Kingo AI, who is consulting with businesses all across the country on how to use AI for the business and take it to the next level. You're gonna love this. Let's go jump in. Hi everybody, this is Paul Hitchcock. Welcome to Giant TV. I'm the president and founder of Giant Jackson Media. Really excited for my guest here today, Brian Thomas, who is a very successful Vistage Chair. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Paul. Great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ross Hartmann, who's the founder of Kingo AI, all about AI and how businesses are using it. Ross, always great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and so we're going to jump right into this, Brian. We're going to start with you. Love to understand what you're doing there at Vistage, what you're building, and how AI might be coming up, or your thoughts about it.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Well, first of all, as you mentioned, I'm a Vistage Chair. What that means is that I'm a former executive, ran several companies, and now I lead peer advisory groups of CEOs and business owners who meet regularly to share guidance and wisdom, learn from experts like Ross, and make sure we're up to date on the latest ideas on how to run our businesses as effectively as possible.
Yeah, and you're in the what area? What area are you?
Yeah, I'm in Middle Tennessee, Nashville and Middle Tennessee.
Got it. Yeah, love it. And Brian, you're building a chief executive group as CEOs mostly?
Yeah, I have several groups actually. I run one group. I chair one group with chair one group. Let me start again.
Yeah. I'll edit the follow-up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I chair several groups. One group is for CEOs and business owners. The second group is called a key executive group. It's for the C-suite who report to those CEOs. And then I'm actually, the first group, CEO group, has been so successful, Paul, I'm actually in the process of launching a second CEO group here in Nashville.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. And I know, obviously, we've talked a lot offline. I know Vistage, and some of the great things I understand about what you're doing there is everyone's getting together on a monthly basis, all of your CEOs and keys, or maybe keys not monthly, but CEOs monthly, and you're collaborating, you're processing issues. Everyone's kind of opening the door on what's going on with their businesses and helping each other out. Can you describe that environment a little bit?
Yeah, it's a unique situation being the CEO or the owner of the company, being at the top of the org chart. It can be very lonely. You have to make decisions with limited information, or biased information even. I used to joke when I was running my company, Paul, nobody ever came to me and said, yeah, Brian, I'm the problem. You should let me go, right? That never happened. So it's an opportunity to get in a room and share, be a little bit vulnerable and share the challenges you're facing with other executives who really understand what you're going through and understand the perspective from your seat. And they give you unbiased advice. We're a great community, so we want to help each other, but we also don't want to spin with each other. We call it being carefrontational. We care enough about each other to get involved and be respectful and polite, but confrontational enough to, we're not there to tell you what you want to hear. We're there to tell you what you need to hear.
Right. Yeah. And then beyond that, you're doing the one-to-ones, right? You're meeting with each member individually.
Yeah, absolutely. I work with each member up to 2 hours a month as a one-to-one executive coach for any issues that they may not want to bring up to the group, or just things we want to do a deeper dive into about business challenges.
Oh, I love it. And tell me about AI, Brian. Is AI a hot topic amongst the members, and what are you seeing there?
Yeah, what I'm seeing is there's obviously the big splash in AI was ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a number of the group members who are using ChatGPT for some of their communications, and seeing some of the strengths and some of the things that still need to develop on ChatGPT. But I was fortunate enough, I sat in on Ross's presentation several weeks ago, and my mind was blown about the wide range of opportunities available through AI. And I see it specifically, as you know, as we all know, that the great challenge over the last couple of years has been staffing, finding good people, and using AI to supplant some of those staffing challenges, not just ChatGPT, but the whole range of AI, I think is incredibly exciting. And my members definitely want to learn more about that.
Yeah, all good stuff. I know it's a hot topic, Ross. What do we need to be focused on here with AI and how businesses can use it, are using it? I mean, give us a background.
Yeah, well, I mean, some recent news because this industry changes every day, honestly. Essentially, OpenAI just had their developer conference this morning. They announced new sort of features and new possibilities, new things that would be coming to ChatGPT. And so sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming with how fast the industry, the AI industry changes. But what we really have to understand first is what this technology can do. And so this is why I really recommend that everybody, if you're an executive or if you're a key member of your organization, just get the paid version of ChatGPT. It's $20 a month and play with it and start to learn a little bit about the things that it can do beyond just, writing a poem or writing a song, because it can start to do incredible analysis. So it's not a lawyer, but it can draft contracts. It can review contracts. You still have to send it to your lawyer, but it's a good first pass. It can help with marketing material. It can help with drafting sales letters. Instead of spending an hour kind of thinking about how you're going to write out a memo you're going to send to your entire organization, you could instead have ChatGPT write that and then you edit it afterwards. So that's kind of getting an idea of how the technology works. But the thing I like to say at that point then is it goes so much further, because where you can start to take it beyond that is real workflow automation, to where if you're receiving emails, the AI classifies them and sends them to some other program, or it retrieves information from your CRM or your ERP, or pulls QuickBooks reports and combines those with your ERP reports and puts those into an automated file creation for you. Tons of possibilities. Anywhere where you have data or knowledge work, likely AI can be used, if not to fully automate, at least to improve the efficiency.
Interesting. And are there certain industries that have jumped on to AI more than others? Or are you seeing it across the board?
You know, I'm seeing it across the board, undoubtedly. I'll say within companies, the lowest hanging fruit does tend to be kind of marketing and sales, just because it's very text driven, it's very idea driven, and AI is great at idea creation and idea generation. And so usually the marketing team jumps on it first. But I see it in every industry. So I'm working with an accounting industry or an accounting firm, construction industry. They're using this for takeoffs, law firm, exactly. Just tons of areas, and they're all using it for different purposes. It's truly data organization, having the AI make decisions, having the AI do QC even, that's a possibility. So you truly see it everywhere.
Yeah. And Brian, what sort of industries are you working with there in your group?
Yeah, I think one of the things that really intrigued me, Ross, was when you brought up doing takeoffs. I came out of the manufacturing industry. I have a number of construction industry members in my group. Their eyes lit up when I suggested that AI could be used to make their estimating more easily. Can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a basic idea of AI that you can feed it examples of what came previously. It can analyze those and attempt to predict or make an estimate based on a current project requirement, let's say. So you get a project requirement, it takes that, it looks for similar projects in the past and the actual costs that may have gone with that, and then it's able to use that information to create a first pass estimate. And that can obviously improve accuracy, it can reduce the time in the estimation process, it can allow you to get to that, the bidding table as one of the first responders instead of coming at the end. So a lot of possibilities there, and it can happen in more than just kind of estimation and bidding and proposals. It's really anywhere where we have to look at past projects and pull out relevant information.
So that kind of overlaps with, I mean, when you say that, it makes me think of like data analysis.
Yeah.
That we're really using it to analyze existing data to detect patterns or I guess compare existing data to the requirements of the new job, right?
Yeah, and then the wild thing is, so there's this kind of just text analysis that it can do, but beyond that, you can actually have it perform statistical analysis to where the AI can write its own code to do its own analysis, which is really wild. Where actually you can have an AI write its own AI even,
Oh.
which kind of goes a little bit crazy.
Interesting, yeah.
But that is possible. I've done it for a few groups just to kind of, light up the eyes, and it's incredible. So you got maintenance information, for instance, you got sensor readings on machines, and the whenever there's a failure, you tie it to those sensor readings. You can feed in that data into the AI, and then it will train on that data, create a new statistical model to where you can just feed in the machine sensor readings, and it'll tell you what's the percentage likelihood that there will be a failure, machine failure.
Oh, okay. And what is AI? What's being done with AI in production scheduling? That was always a
It's
big challenge in my career.
in scheduling. Yeah. So you can have it use the natural language model capabilities of kind of looking at who needs to be what where. But AI tends not to, or I guess I should say language models tend not to be fantastic at math, which is kind of counterintuitive, right?
Okay.
You would think computers are great at math, right? But no, language models are not so great at math for various technical reasons. But what they can do is they can write code that can do math. And so for scheduling, there are various libraries, software libraries that you would have the AI actually write the code to use those third-party libraries. And so I think this gets at a big point here that AI unlocks the ability for us to do things that we previously couldn't. So I don't know, Brian, do you know how to program?
I do, yes.
Oh, well, normally
Yeah.
people say no, but let's say you did it. Anyone who doesn't know how to program, they can now, right?
I don't. So let me
Okay,
just say
so
that.
Paul, yeah. So Paul can now program, right? You can go to GPT-4, you can describe your problem, and it can write the code for it. And you still want to review it, but it allows you to do things that you previously couldn't. So in a scheduling, if you needed a scheduling or you needed an optimization problem, you could have the AI write the code to call those third-party libraries to solve that problem for you. Truly, the possibilities are endless here. It's wild.
Huh. But it really fires the imagination.
Yes, yes. I mean, that is the
So,
issue that I'm having
yeah.
is that there are too many opportunities in terms of ideas of what you could do with this technology, and just not enough time to do it all.
So let me put myself back in my seat of running a $40 million business. I see AI coming. I'm excited about all the possibilities, but I'm also I want to be personally I always wanted to be on the leading edge, but not the bleeding edge, right?
Yeah.
How do I decide how AI? Because I'm sort of babbling here. So how do I decide? I've got some data in different formats. I've got
Yeah.
different software systems. I've got different accounting systems. How do I decide how much effort and time it's going to take me to get all that in place so that AI can make recommendations for me? There's a lot of work that seems like it goes up front to this. And how do I decide where on the edge of this I want to be from a cost benefit standpoint?
It's a really
In
good
30
question.
seconds or less, Ross.
Okay. Well, I'll do it in 30 seconds. So
I'm wondering too. Yeah,
this is what our company does. We help
Okay.
companies build AI brands because you have so many different systems, right? You have your CRM and your maintenance system, and you have all this. You need to tie the AI into those systems so that it can retrieve that data. But creating all those integrations can be difficult, obviously, time consuming. And then additionally, you don't want to have to massage your data to get it into the right format. You just want a system that can have the AI access all of your existing data in the format that it's in, and then begin to ask the AI questions, and it can retrieve information from your databases that already exist. So that's what our company does. It is incredibly, it's amazing, honestly. I'm always shocked seeing it in action, but it can pull data from wherever you have it already and answer your question. So that's how you do it. Or you can develop it yourself, and then I'm happy to talk to anyone about that. But obviously, that comes with development resources.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring up one of the things that really intrigued me about your presentation was that I sort of had this perspective, set aside the chat GPT, but for using AI to sort of the programmer's perspective, where you have this data and you write a program to analyze it and come up with conclusions. But AI sort of takes that out of the where you can ask very sort of free form questions where
Yes.
you just put all the data in and say, hey, what patterns do you see here?
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, in the past, let's say you wanted to do some statistical analysis, you had to be a domain expert, right? You had to know about all the different techniques you could use. But now you can go to GPT-4 and say, hey, tell me a little bit about this data. What's unusual? What's interesting? What should I be looking out for here? Or you can say, I need a crash course on statistics. What kind of models would be most interesting to look at in this data? And obviously it can give you that. So speaking to the AI in layman's terms, more or less, that allows you to unlock new capabilities where previously you had to be a domain expert.
And how about some of the more creative sides, the marketing and media folks who are curious about how AI is going to change their business?
Yeah, and it has affected, I'd say, the creative side maybe the most thus far. It that's kind of the lowest hanging fruit in terms of how you can implement it. One is it creates ideas. Dolly 3 just came out with OpenAI, but there's also Midjourney. There's Adobe's Firefly. So for creating actual images, we're already seeing video creation with things like Runway ML. There's one called Pika, I believe. There's a ton of different kind of text to video models that will allow you to create marketing material. Then there's also the ability to put in marketing material that you already have and tell the AI, hey, slice this into pieces so that we can distribute it on different platforms or find the key portions here. There's video search, essentially looking over the meaning of what's going on in a video. And then when it comes to marketing, there's just, hey, give me 10 ideas for new YouTube videos, and then come up with the headlines for that, and then give me a description. And then, I write the script for it as well. And then you can feed that into another model, which will create the thumbnail for you to put on YouTube. And you can say, let's get some material from the text to video model as well. And then, I mentioned this from time to time as well. This is the worst the technology will ever be, right? It is just going to get better. And so right now I'm saying there's all these things you can do with it. But if you're watching this video down the line, it's going to be able to have so many more capabilities just in the next few months, even.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
amazing. It's insane. What about privacy issues, Ross? That comes up. Companies are worried about that, putting their information out there.
Yeah, that's huge. And different companies obviously have different privacy and security requirements from a regulation perspective and then just industry standard perspective. So a few things. One is if you're using ChatGPT, you need to make sure your training is turned off. You have to go into your settings, you have to turn it off, make sure it's turned off on all your devices and for any employee that has this. And this essentially just makes it so that OpenAI doesn't train on your data. Or in other words, they don't use your data to improve their models. Because there's a thing called a model inversion attack, which could allow potential future users to get access to your confidential and proprietary information that you share with the model if you don't have that turned off. So make sure you turn it off. Additionally, you can use OpenAI's API. They do not train on that. And so in that, and I talk a lot about OpenAI, right? I don't get any money from OpenAI. Why do I talk about them so much? Because it's just hands down, they're currently the leading AI in the field. Google may change that this December by releasing Gemini, which they think will beat GPT-4, but we'll see. So additionally, on the privacy and security perspective, you can release these models on your own infrastructure. So we work with companies to deploy GPT-4 on their own Azure environment, which gives you that much more level of security, essentially, when interacting with the data. Your data doesn't have to go out over the internet. It just goes directly to the model. And then for those who are even more conscientious, if they're not using, government community cloud on Azure or something, they can deploy an open source model. And we're already starting to see incredible improvements in the capabilities of open source AI models, but you can deploy those inside of your cloud system, AWS, Google, Azure, and you can essentially know that your data is not going to any other company because you're the one hosting that model. Now, there's a lot of technical requirements and technical proficiency that's required when you do something like that. But for those companies that really need that extra layer of security, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But Ross, if we all turn off training mode, how does AI get smarter?
Not everyone will turn it off. That much is true. And then additionally, there's a ton of data out there on the internet, right? People are just having conversations that basically these model companies are pulling that sort of data to learn from. So Gemini, Google's model, is going to be learning from YouTube videos. So it's going to be transcribing the text and obviously Google owns YouTube. They own all the data on YouTube. Additionally, there's been recent studies that show that AI can actually create its own training data and learn based on that. So that honestly is kind of shocking that it can create synthetic data is what it's called, and then it learns from that synthetic data. So we'll see that. I think there's a lot of research still going on in that area, but that's a possibility.
So I'm a small business owner. Maybe I've got, say, a $20 million business. How do I get started in this? Where do I get a toehold in AI?
Yeah. So one is get ChatGPT. Make sure you understand how it can be used, what it can do, understand the opportunity essentially. And then after that, get key players in your organization access to it. Learn a little bit about prompt engineering, which is how you get essentially better at talking to the AI to get better output. Then do an assessment of your organization to determine what are the tasks and the roles that can most benefit from AI. Once you have a good understanding of what it excels at and what it maybe doesn't do so well at, you can understand what tasks can we either fully automate or partially automate through AI, or at least improve, or even unlock new capabilities that we didn't have before. From there, roll out potentially a pilot program with key players in your organization. You can also then start to measure the ROI from that point of view. And then after that, I suggest that if there's one reason that this is going to fail in your organization, it's not because you haven't done the necessary technical, requirements and deployment. It's not because you haven't done the training or the education. It's because people forget that you can use this. So make sure that folks see this on a day-to-day basis. Make sure it's, people's homepage. Make sure that you have a Slack or a Teams channel so that people are talking about where they're having success with AI, or even where they're not, so that others can jump in and say, actually, I did get that to work, and here's how. And then finally put together a prompt library, which is kind of your list of the different prompts that you can use to talk to the AI. Those are kind of my first steps that I give to organizations, but there's so much more to do beyond that.
Thank you. So what do I tell the people in my organization that are scared that AI may take their job away?
There's a couple of different ways to go about that. One is just the cold, hard genie's out of the bottle. There's no going back from here. AI is here. Nothing you can do about it. The other thing is that AI will not replace you. This much is clear. We're kind of seeing this. AI will not replace you, but someone using AI will. So we're starting to see that those people who are using AI are getting a massive productivity and efficiency improvement. And so in the labor force, on the market, they're going to have their pick about which jobs they want to get at, right? And if you're not adopting AI as a tool, because it is a tool, if you adopt it as a tool, you yourself will get more opportunities, you'll be more efficient, you'll be better placed in the labor market. So don't see it as a threat, see it as an opportunity for you as a tool. And then finally, sometimes companies will basically say, okay, I'm coming in, here's where we're going to use AI. Everybody, you better use it or you better get out of the way. I personally would take a different approach to that. And that's instead to go to employees first and say, okay, what do you not enjoy doing, right? What is frustrating about your day? What is annoying? Where are there issues with efficiency or with how quickly you can get things done, right? Okay, let's automate those things so we can get rid of the things you don't like doing and free you up to work on the things that are more creative, more strategic. And so that also reduces burnout and improves employee retention.
Thank you. And Ross, I remember back in the 90s and early 2000s, we had an incredible run in the economy and a huge boom of productivity and efficiency due to the advent of the desktop computer, frankly.
Yeah.
Is AI a reason to be excited about our economy, the world economy over the next 10, 20 years?
100%. Yeah. I mean, depends who you ask, but some folks, if it does offer what it seems to be offering, we are potentially looking at another sort of industrial revolution, a fourth industrial revolution, because it gives us the possibility of really automating a good chunk of knowledge work. Now, it's going to be a bumpy road about how we get from here to there, undoubtedly. I don't want to sugarcoat it. But it gives us the ability, just like before you had to do accounting on paper and pencil, you bring in the computer, maybe it can do the accounting work that 100 folks could do previously or even more. Well, we're going to see that same level of improvement with AI. We're going to see digital workers even. There is massive reason to be hopeful and excited just from a purely economic standpoint. Yeah. It's incredible.
One more question, if I may, a bit particular here. Let's say I'm getting 150, 200 emails a day.
Yeah.
Can I have AI go through my email and tell me which ones I need to read first?
Isn't that funny? Yeah. I'm working on a project for that right now, actually.
Okay.
The AI can read your email.
And which ones I don't need to read at all.
Well, exactly, because it can classify, first of all, on subject matter, so that if you have kind of frequently asked questions or responses to frequently asked questions, you can queue those up. But then it can even classify based on priority, based on importance and urgency, and then start to sort that for you. And then maybe we can even imagine it being proactive and saying, hey, this one's seeming kind of urgent. I'm just going to put this on your calendar and ping you real quick. 100% possible. Something you can do today.
Awesome. Ross, can you tell me what an engagement of Kingo looks like? What sort of companies engage you? What that looks like?
Yeah, I mean, it's all sorts of companies. I'm very grateful for that, kind of across the board. And one of the reasons for that is just because every company has knowledge work, and AI can help every company. So we typically start with a 30-minute or so AI discovery, where we talk about where can it benefit your organization, what are the tasks that you'd most like to improve or unlock, whether that's better customer experience, improved employee efficiency, productivity, or even new revenue opportunities. And from there, we discuss, how do we actually get that done? Sometimes that looks like talking about, how do we implement this? How do we get an AI brain into your organization so that it can query all of your data and help you make sense of that information, pull out reports? And sometimes you just need somebody who's going to be there for you as someone to walk you down the AI path, essentially. So we're happy to serve in that capacity as well.
And I'm curious, what's an engagement, a typical cost per engagement? I know there's no typical, but I'm just trying to get a ballpark for what.
Yeah, so for the software,
we'll edit this out.
For the engagement, I mean, it really does depend on the organization. So I guess I don't want to throw out a price right now, because I'll just be honest with you. The prices have been changing due to the demand. And as you can guess, they've kind of been going up. It's so anytime somebody might be watching this video, I'm not entirely sure what it will exactly be. But it's standard consulting. It's nothing insane.
No, and I'll make a comment there too. Is that Ross did an assessment for a new company that we're launching through the law firm, and it was awesome. We're, launch a new business which needs messaging going out, people coming in directed to a site with a chat bot on there, and then clicking a link, filling out a form, which generates a proposal, and they fill out and get back to us. And, we had human beings doing that along the way. And I was trying to figure out, with the current automation tools I have, how to get that done. It's too difficult. I couldn't, they just weren't talking to each other. Anyways, Ross is in the middle right now working with us. We hired him to come in and automate that whole process, take humans out of it, so saving their work time. It's pretty insane. So I'm seeing firsthand in the trenches here the benefits of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me
What
do
question should I have asked that I haven't asked?
uh,
The
Catch-all
question,
question, right?
no, this is a great question. I get this question a lot, which kind of surprises me. And the thing I usually respond with is, why will this fail? And kind of like I was mentioning, people won't use it. You have to make sure it's a behavior change. It's just like you give people Google for the first time. If they've never used a search engine, I mean, obviously this is antiquated. Nobody has this issue anymore. But when you first came out with Google, people wouldn't remember to actually search in it. Like you would forget that you don't have to ask somebody else a question. You can just ask Google first. And that's exactly the same with AI.
Good stuff. Well, I want to thank both of you for being here. Thanks everybody for listening. And we're putting up the information for both Brian and Ross around this video, wherever you're watching it, because we stream it everywhere. Maybe it's up here or down here. Get connected to them. They're doing great things. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you so much.
Paul. Thank you,
Brian.
Ross.